Good morning to one and all, and welcome to this online class in the subject Corporate Finance. This class is conducted for MBA Semester 2 students. This is Dr. Mahesh M. Onjeri, Assistant Professor from Department of Management Studies, SDM College of Engineering and Technology, Dharwad. So, we are learning now in Unit 5, Financing Decisions, Chapter number 18, Operating Financial and Combined Leverages. So before we go ahead and solve the additional problems, so we'll just browse through today's news from Times of India. So this news is from Times of India, Times Business column, page number 11. So fin sector relief. Fin sector relief to ease asset risks, but not enough. Okay, that is financial sector. Financial sector relief to ease asset risks, but not enough. Okay, Moody's report. Measures for NBFCs, non-banking financial corporations. Measures for NBFCs fall short of solving the sector's needs. So let us browse through the news. Moody's Investors Service, okay, so which provides services to its clients on investment decisions. So Moody's Investors Service on Tuesday said the measures announced by the government for financial institutions as a part of the 20 lakh crore economic package will help ease their asset risk, but will not fully offset the negative impact from the COVID-19 outbreak. The government last week announced a support package of 3.70 lakh crore for micro, small, and medium enterprises for the MSME sector, 75,000 crore rupees for non-banking financial companies (NBFCs) and 90,000 crore rupees for power distribution companies. This is part of the overall economic package announced by the government over last week to mitigate the economic impact of coronavirus crisis. This is how governments, okay, push, okay, the economy. Now, while these measures will help ease asset risks for the financial sector, they will not fully offset the negative impact from the coronavirus outbreak. Moody's said in a commentary titled Financial Relief to the Financial System, but will not solve all issues. On MSME package, the rating agency, so Moody's is a rating agency, said the sector was already under stress before coronavirus outbreak. So should all remember, okay, during the classes, I used to read news on the economic slowdown of India since the last 18 months. Okay, the economic growth rate has come down just below 5%. Okay, you can recall that. So on MSME package, the rating agency, that is the Moody's, said the sector was already under stress before coronavirus outbreak, and further slowdown in economic growth will lead to more liquidity pools. Okay. It means the sector, micro, small and medium enterprises, okay, will struggle to obtain working capital. Okay, that is what we are talking about. More liquidity pools means these micro, small and medium enterprises will struggle to avail working capital. With regard to measures for NBFCs, it is said that the support is far lower than immediate liquidity requirements of those companies. Okay. So whatever relief package is announced by the central government for, okay, MSME, that is the micro, small, medium enterprises, as well as for NBFCs, non-banking financial corporations, it is far lower. Okay, so it is far lower than the immediate liquidity requirements. Among the measures, so what kind of measures are announced? Among the measures, the most significant is the government guaranteed automatic and uncollateralized loans to MSMEs. Okay, so the NBFCs, okay, can lend a loan to micro, small, and medium enterprises on government's guarantee. Okay, on government's guarantee. Such loans will help improve MSME's near-term liquidity. So they will be able to, okay, arrange for some working capital and ease asset risks for the banks. Since these loans will be backed up or guaranteed by the central government, in case if the MSMEs are unable to repay the loan, government will repay. So this way, okay, it will ease asset risk for the banks and NBFCs, who are the key lenders to the sector. However, the MSME sector was already under financial strain before the outbreak of the coronavirus and the growth over the past 18 months. Okay, so you can recall that cover story from Business Today magazine, I read it out. The big liquidity freeze. Sorry, the big credit freeze. Okay, so we can recall that article cover story which I read in the class. Okay, so as a consequence, it has limited capacity to weather another economic shock, Modi said. The deeper and broader economic slowdown in India's growth, the more the MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises, will face liquidity stress. That is, they will be unable to arrange for the working capital, leading to asset quality problems for the working system. So, assets here means for banks and NBFCs, it is the loans given to MSME sector. So, in balance sheet, we show them in asset side if you can recall. So if MSMEs are unable to arrange working capital, okay, so it will be difficult for them to survive in the near future. So as we said, the present survival is important for future growth. Okay, so if these MSMEs are unable to arrange for working capital in short term, okay, so in near future, okay, these MSMEs will be closed and whatever loans they have borrowed from the NBFCs and banks, okay, will become non-performing assets for the banks. So that is how we say, leading to asset quality problems for the financial system. Modi said the relief measures for the NBFC sector will fall short of solving the liquidity needs of the sector. The government will set up a special, okay, so the planned debt purchase. So central government is planning to purchase the debts, okay, about 2% of the total outstanding debt of the top 20 non-banking financial corporations, that represents close to 75%. Okay. So these all measures are being taken by the central government to provide relief to the financial sector and help the micro, small and medium industries. Okay, but Moody's rating agency is of the opinion that these reliefs are not enough. Okay, so definitely the central government has to look, okay, ahead of how further it can strengthen the sector. Okay, so I'm going to, okay, unmute you all. If you have any questions regarding this news article, okay, we can have a small discussion and then I will go ahead with the problem. Okay, any questions or any discussions from students and on the news? Yes, any discussion from students and or any doubts or questions? Okay, so I hope, okay, so you are able to understand this present situation. Okay, and we'll move ahead, okay, with the numerical problems. So I'm going to mute you all again. So at the end of the problem, if you have any doubts, we'll still have opportunity to clarify your doubts. Okay. So yesterday, this was the last small problem on how to calculate degree of operating leverage we discussed. Two more problems are remaining. So we'll conclude the syllabus today with those two problems. So these problems again are similar to the earlier two problems which we have solved. Okay, so I hope there will not be any difficulties in understanding. Just pay attention while the problem is being solved. So this is the problem number 18.7 from textbook. Balance sheet as on 31st March of a company. Balance sheet as on 31st March of a company. Okay, so we have assets and liabilities. So under the liabilities, we have equity capital of 8 lakh rupees. So 10 rupees per share is the market price. Debt capital is also there, worth 6 lakh rupees, and the interest on debt is 10%. Then the retained earnings are 3 lakh 50,000 rupees. Current liabilities are 1 lakh 50,000 rupees. Okay, so these are on the liability side. Okay. Then on the asset side, we have net fixed assets of 10 lakh rupees and okay, current assets of 9 lakh rupees. So total of assets column is 19 lakhs and the total of liability column is 19 lakhs. Just give me a minute. Okay, so once the data in the balance sheet is understood, so there is additional information provided. Income statement for the year ending. Okay, so sales 3,40,000, operating expenses including 60,000 depreciation 1,20,000. So earnings before interest and taxes is 2,20,000. So operating expenses are deducted from sales. So what remains is EBIT, earnings before interest and taxes, less interest. Okay, so interest is 60,000. We can make out the debt capital is 6 lakh rupees and the interest on debt is 10%. So 10% of 6 lakhs is 60,000. And what remains? 1,60,000 is earnings before taxes. So less taxes. Okay, so what we get is 56,000 rupees. Sorry, taxes are 56,000. It is readily given in the problem. Okay, so try to understand. So this all data is readily given in the problem. So taxes are directly given in the problem as well as this income statement is also readily available. So less taxes 56,000 rupees and the difference what we get is 1,04,000 rupees earnings after taxes, net earnings. Okay. So this all data is given in the problem, balance sheet as well as income statement. So what is asked? Okay, so determine the degree of operating, financial and combined leverages at the current sales level if all operating expenses other than depreciation are variable cost. Okay, there's only one small twist here. It is a too easy problem. So I repeat, determine information is given about the balance sheet, liabilities and assets. Information is also readily provided about the income statement. Okay, what is asked? Determine the degree of operating, financial and combined leverages at the current sales level if all operating expenses other than depreciation are variable costs. So operating expenses are 1,20,000, which includes 60,000 depreciation. So in order to arrive at the actual operating expenses or variable expenses, we need to deduct depreciation from 1,20,000. So one small working note here, when we calculate degree of operating leverage, variable cost is equal to rupees 1,20,000 minus 60,000 is equal to 60,000 is the variable cost. This is one small working note we have to prepare. Then simply we can go ahead and calculate a degree of operating leverage first. So degree of operating leverage is given by the equation sales minus variable cost divided by EBIT. Okay. Then sales are, see it is given in the problem in income statement. Sales are 3,40,000 rupees. So sales are 3,40,000 minus variable cost is 60,000. How we arrived at it? With a small working note. So variable cost 1,20,000 minus 60,000. 60,000 is a depreciation. So 1,20,000 includes depreciation which has to be deducted in order to arrive at the variable cost. Okay, because depreciation is not a variable cost and it is already, it's also a non-cash cost. So that's why it is deducted from variable cost to arrive at the actual variable cost. So variable cost is 60,000 as per the working note and divided by EBIT. So EBIT is given in the problem already. Okay, so 2,20,000 rupees. So sales 3,40,000 minus variable cost 60,000 divided by EBIT 2,20,000. So degree of operating leverage is 1.27. Degree of operating leverage is 1.27. So what does 1.27 mean? A 1% change in sales will lead to 1.27 percentage change in EBIT, the direction in which sales change. Means if the sales increase by 1%, the EBIT will also increase. The EBIT will increase by 1.27%. If the sales decrease by 1%, the EBIT will decrease by 1.27%. This is how we interpret. Second, degree of financial leverage, EBIT divided by EBIT minus interest. So EBIT we already know 2,20,000 divided by again EBIT 2,20,000 minus interest is 60,000. So how we arrive at the interest? It is also given readily in the problem. Less interest. So degree of financial leverage is equal to EBIT 2,20,000 divided by EBIT 2,20,000 minus interest 60,000 rupees. The answer is 1.37. So what does it mean? Degree of financial leverage is 1.37. A 1% change in EBIT will lead to 1.37 percentage change in EPS. EBIT is interest earnings before interest and taxes. EPS is earnings per share. Share when we say equity share. So in the direction in which EBIT changes means if the EBIT increases by 1%, earnings per share will increase by 1.37%. If the EBIT decreases by 1%, EPS will decrease by 1.37%. So then finally we are asked to calculate degree of combined leverage. So how we arrive at it? Degree of operating leverage into degree of financial leverage. So degree of operating leverage is 1.27. Okay, multiplied by degree of financial leverage 1.37. So when you multiply both, degree of combined leverage of this company will be 1.75. Degree of combined leverage of the firm is 1.75. This is the total leverage of the firm. Okay. So that's all what is asked in the problem. Determine the degree of operating, financial and combined leverages. Okay. So now I'm going to unmute you again. So if you have any questions, please ask. And if you do not have a question or doubt, kindly mute your audio immediately within a couple of seconds. Okay. Any questions from students? Yeah, though it was simple one, much more simpler than the previous problem, but yet. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay then. So I'm going to mute you all. And let me go ahead with the next problem. So if it is incomplete, I will complete it in the second session of today. Okay, so this question is again from old question paper, June 2012 for 10 marks. Question number 6C. Okay, so it is about EBIT EPS analysis where four alternative financing plans are given and you have to suggest, okay, the company has to raise additional capital through which financial plan. Okay, so it is a financing decision of the finance manager. So I'll read the problem. Oriental Limited, name of the company. Oriental Limited currently has an ordinary share capital of 25 lakh rupees. Okay. So Oriental Limited currently has an ordinary share capital of 25 lakh rupees, consisting of 25,000 shares of 100 rupees each. So market price of the equity share of the company is 100 rupees. So when we raise additional capital 20 lakh rupees, so we need this market price of equity share to find out the number of equity shares in the additional capital under each financial plan. Please remember it. Then the management is planning to raise another 20 lakh rupees to finance major expansion program through one of the four possible financial plans. So this problem is from question paper and the first problem that we solved is from textbook. So exactly same problem taken from the textbook. Some figures are changed. That's it. Exactly same problem. So it should be easy, but pay attention, please. So what are the four financial plans which the finance manager is considering? Let us see. The first financial plan, raise the additional 20 lakh rupees entirely through ordinary shares. Okay, means percent proportion of the equity shares in the new additional capital is 100%. Okay, so you can find out the number of equity shares by dividing 20 lakhs divided by 100. Then, yeah. Second financial plan is 10 lakh rupees through ordinary shares. Ordinary shares means equity shares, please remember. And another 10 lakh rupees through 8% long term loan. So when we say loan, please remember it is a debt capital. And there is interest on debt is 8%. So the proportion of equity capital in the new additional capital is 50%. And the proportion of debt capital in the additional 20 lakh is 50%. Third financing plan, 5 lakh rupees through ordinary shares or equity shares and the remaining 15 lakh rupees through 9% long-term loan. LT means long term. So 15 lakhs rupees through 9% loan. So in the new additional capital, the proportion of debt capital is 75%. Then fourth financing plan is the company can raise 20 lakh rupee additional capital, out of which 10 lakh rupees by way of equity shares and another 10 lakh rupees by way of preference shares of 5% dividend. So company is required to raise additional 20 lakh rupees. it can raise this additional 20 lakh rupee capital through any one of these four financial plans. Any one of these four financial plans. So company should raise additional capital of 20 lakh rupee through which plan? Okay, through that plan which ensures highest earnings per share for equity shareholders. Why the company should raise additional capital through that financial plan which ensures highest EPS? Because highest earning per share ensures wealth maximization of the shareholders. So when the earning per share is higher and when the company invests in, when the company raises capital through such financial plans, okay, the prices of the equity shares of that company increases or goes up in the market and thus maximizing the shareholders' wealth. Okay, then additional information given. The company's expected earnings before interest and taxes, okay, EBIT, will be 8 lakh rupees. The company's expected EBIT will be 8 lakh rupees. Assuming a corporate tax rate of 50%, determine the EPS, earnings per share in each alternative and comment which alternative is best and why. So this will be case study number 6. Okay, please remember. So determine the earning per share or EPS in each alternative. Alternative means alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 3 and alternate 4. What are these alternates? These are alternative financial plans. Using any one of which, through any one of this, company has to raise additional capital. In this, any one of the proportions, company has to raise additional capital. Okay, so you have to make the decision, okay, of which financial alternative is best. Company should raise additional 20 lakh rupee capital through which financial plan and why I have to explain by determining earning per share in each alternative. Okay, so I hope the information given in the problem is explained properly, okay, so that it becomes easy for you to determine the best financial plan. Okay. Then the title of the table will be EPS under various financial plans. So this is our solution. So first column will be of particulars, second column will be of financial plans. So it will have 4 sub columns: financial plan A, financial plan, or we'll say financial plan 1, financial plan 2, financial plan 3, and financial plan 4. Okay. So we'll make a beginning with EBIT. So this sequence you have to remember, it is same. Okay. Even in unit 2, chapter number 9. Okay. While estimating cash flows after taxes, that is CFAT. So EBIT given in the problem, EBIT will be 8 lakh rupees. So EBIT is 8 lakh rupees under all 4 financial plans. So given the same level of EBIT, how earning per share changes in the presence of fixed cost. Fixed cost, when we say in this case, when a company raises capital through those sources which carry a fixed cost, for example, capital from long-term loan or capital from debt source of funds. Okay, so less interest. So we look at the financial plan 1, entire additional capital will be raised through equity shares, hence there is no debt capital, so there is no interest under financial plan A. Under financial plan B, there is 80% interest. So let's check out. Under financial plan 2, 10 lakh rupee will be raised through equity shares and 10 lakh rupee will be raised through 8% long-term loan. So rate of interest on long-term loan is 8%. So 8% of 10 lakh rupees will be 80,000 rupees interest in under second financial plan. The third financial plan, the interest is 1,35,000 rupees. Let us see how. In the third plan, out of additional 20 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupee will be raised through equity shares and 15 lakh rupee will be raised through 9% long-term loan. So 9% interest. Okay. So 9% of 15 lakh rupees, 1 lakh 35,000 is the interest under financial plan 3. Okay, under financial plan 4, there is no interest because 10 lakh rupee will be raised through equity shares and 10 lakh rupee will be raised through preference capital. Okay, so we deduct. Then earnings before taxes under financial plan 1 is 8 lakh rupees. 8 lakh minus 80,000 is equal to 7 lakh 20,000. Earnings before taxes under financial plan 2 is 7 lakh 20,000. 8 lakh minus 1 lakh 35,000 is equal to 6 lakh 65,000 are the earnings before taxes under financial plan 3. And the earnings before taxes under financial plan 4 are 8 lakh rupees. Now less taxes at the rate of 50%. It is given in the problem. Please check. Corporate tax rate of 50%. So this is the earnings before taxes or taxable income. 50% of this we have to calculate. So 4 lakh rupee is the taxes under financial plan A. 3 lakh 16,000 rupee. 50% of 7 lakh 20,000 is the taxes under financial plan 2. 50% of 6 lakh 65,000 is 3 lakh 32,500 are the taxes under financial plan 3. 50% of 8 lakh is 4 lakh rupees are the taxes under financial plan 4. So now we deduct taxes. 8 lakh minus 4 lakh is 4 lakh rupees are the earnings after taxes under financial plan 1. 7 lakh 20,000 minus 3 lakh 60,000 is equal to 3 lakh 60,000 are earnings after taxes under financial plan 2. 6 lakh 65,000 minus 3 lakh 32,500 is equal to 3 lakh 32,500 are earnings after taxes under financial plan 3. 8 lakh minus 4 lakh is equal to 4 lakh rupees are earnings after taxes under financial plan 4. Okay, so from this income, preference dividend has to be deducted. Okay, so preference capital is raised only under financial plan 4. So financial plan 1, 2, 3 and 4 preference dividend is nil. Okay, so we'll calculate the preference dividend under financial plan 4. So 10 lakh rupee out of the additional 20 lakh rupee will be raised through preference share capital with 5% dividend. So 5% of 10 lakh rupees is 50,000 rupee is the preference dividend under financial plan 4. Okay, so once we deduct, what we get are earnings available to equity shareholders. So under financial plan A or under financial plan 1, earnings available to equity shareholders are 4 lakh rupees. Under financial plan 2, earnings available to equity shareholders are 3 lakh 60,000. Under financial plan 3, earnings available to equity shareholders are 3 lakh 32,500. And under financial plan 4, 4 lakh minus 50,000 is equal to 3 lakh 50,000 are earnings available to equity shareholders under financial plan 4. Okay. Then we are going to calculate number of equity shares. Okay, so the company already had a share capital of 25 lakh rupees. So if you can recall, and the market price of equity shares was 100 rupees. So though it is mentioned that the number of equity shares existing in the company were 25,000, but if you can divide 25 lakhs divided by 100 rupees, so what you get is 25,000 rupees. Okay, so 25 lakhs divided by 100 will be 25,000 or number of equity shares. So in case under financial plan A, so I think less than a minute is remaining. So what I'll do is I will end the meeting here, and within 10 minutes I will begin the second class, and I'll continue from here. Okay, or better I'll continue quickly from here. So kindly stay back and join the class within 5 minutes once I start the today's second class. Thank you.